Everyone, YouTube, what is good? Welcome back to another episode of Marvin's Room. I have the beautiful pleasure to have the beautiful Agnes Vivarelli back for another interview in the building. Agnes, talk to the viewers. Tell them what's going on.
Hello, Marvin. Good to see you. Good to be on your channel. Good to be doing another organic nut session of some description, as you and I absolutely love. It's our favorite thing. So we got a few good topics today as we discuss privately behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, since the last one we did, when we talked about diet and nutrition and manifesting, I think we got a lot of good feedback on that interview in particular, which also led us to today's interview, which we're going to talk about, with this whole specific person. We just went through a pandemic, right? But I feel like this specific person stuff is a pandemic, literally. And one of the biggest side effects of this pandemic in specific people is needing to be heard. You know what I mean? Needing to be seen, whether it's social media, whether it's, in your relationship or whatever the case may be. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion and your thoughts on wanting people, in relationships with their SP or in anything. It could be a job, it could be, career. Just what are your thoughts and your opinions on people seen?
Well, before I do that, you know what I did? I sat down about 10 minutes before we got on here and I wrote down the top 6 areas where people need reassurance or they look for reassurance. Okay. Nice. And then when I wrote them down, I thought, okay, from working with people, talking to people, which one's number 1? And I numbered them all the way down to 6.
No, I like that.
Yeah. So number 6, where people will go from the lowest one all the way up to the one that people need reassurance in the most. So the number 6 position is getting reassurance from family. So although people don't do that too much, they still do it from certain family members. And so that's in 6th position. Number 5 is at work, from a boss or from colleagues.
Nice.
Number 4 is from tarot, astrology, numerology. So all those systems that are in place, and religion I will add in.
Biggie.
Those areas there.
Biggie.
Yeah. The next one is friends. So people that you're close to, it seems that people go to their friends more than they go to their family. So that's the next one. And then in the number 2 spot where people go, this is the second most popular place where people go for reassurance. Social media, in particular, Instagram and Facebook, looking for likes, looking for people to look at their photos, their videos, and checking that people have done that.
Right.
And that is in direct relation to a relationship. In the top number 1 spot is actually looking for reassurance directly in the 3D from romantic relationships. That's in the number 1 spot.
And I think it's safe to say that we probably could have assumed that would have been number 1.
Yeah.
Especially in the 3D.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the specific person, ex, or current relationship, whether you're in it or whether you want to be in it, and social media is a close second. So they're in the top 2 positions. So for your viewers that are going to watch this today, ask yourself, do I seek reassurance, and do I seek it from any of these top 6 categories? Because it is a powerful thing to be giving your power away to this habit.
100%. And let's go back through the list and
Yep.
see, like, so the number six one, what was the number six one again?
Number 6 was family.
And it was six on the list, right? You said it was the top
Yeah.
six. So
Top 6.
family, I feel like family, if we can dissect each one
Yeah.
separately, and I
Yeah.
think family is a big one. It's a super, super, super big one, because I see so many people getting anxiety and fear based on family members who aren't living your life, who don't know your truth. We all have our own lives, but they put, and you know what's funny? I was literally just watched the video today from Teal Swan. Not sure if you know who Teal Swan is.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
following her work for many years, and she said something that was so true. And she said in one of her quick little snippet videos, she goes, "I never understood this whole, I guess, theory around I'm supposed to love you or let you talk to me however, or believe you just because you're family." And I thought to myself, like, she's so right, because too many times we are taught in society, oh, that's my mom, or that's my dad, or that's my brother, or that's my sister, I'm supposed to forgive you seven times seven, or I'm supposed to forgive you over and over again because we're family, blah, blah, blah. And I get that kind of concept in theory, but at the same time, a part of me now, as I grow on this spiritual journey, I just feel like I totally disagree with that narrative now, because just because somebody is your mother or your father or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that I'm going to continue to let you give me toxic advice, or I should listen to you just because you brought me into this world, quote unquote, you know what I mean? Or we're blood related, you know what I mean? So I kind of want to, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, often families have a collective of beliefs and thoughts. So
Right.
if they are good beliefs and good thoughts, then you might want to continue joining in. But I think as you get older, you start to go, hang on a minute, have you got the right beliefs, not by what you say, but by what you're living about relationships, money, meaningful work, or whatever it is. So I think, yes, you can take advice, or you can listen to people in your family if they actually have the end result that you desire. Then they're worth listening to, for sure. But look at the evidence before you just take the advice.
Right. I agree. And like I said, I think one of the biggest things that we have to stop doing is we have to stop thinking we need to listen to family, like you just said, based on just because, oh, you're my mom or you're my dad. It's like, look at the life you've created, mom. Look at the life you've created, dad. Like, I don't want you look at your parents, you look at your parents' relationship, or you look at your brother's relationship, or your aunt or your uncle, or whoever the hell, his family trying to tell you, and you say, I don't want that. If that's the case, why are you giving so much power, from their words? Why are you giving their words so much power? If you look at them and you listen to them and you look at their life and you see, I don't even want what they have, but yet you're letting what they're saying affect you drastically in a certain area of your life, or whatever the case may be. And I 100% now, I'm at a place to where I don't care if you're my mom. I don't care if you're my dad. Yes, I love you. I care about you. I want the best for you, but it's my life. I don't need to be seen or heard from you. I don't need reassurance from you. And I think this is a lot of times because a lot of people, they don't know themselves. They don't know their true higher power. They don't know the God inside of them, the God state, as Neville would call it, so they're constantly, or how they were raised, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors that, you know what I mean, that would just take way too long to discuss. But there's a lot of factors, and I see how people make decisions, or, oh, I feel like I should go this way, or I feel like I should go this way, or my mom is, she's never wrong, or my dad is never wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, are they never wrong because you believe they're never wrong? Because you don't think for yourself, you know what I mean? These are types of I don't know, this is weird shit I think about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think you get to a certain point where I think it's good to question the people that are giving you advice, because you're no longer a child, especially once you hit your 20s, your 30s. You sort of think, well, hang on, why do they believe that? And what are they living? And is that advice I'm going to take from them, you know? So it's good to question. Some stuff in your family is excellent and some stuff not so excellent. So yeah, make a decision to observe and then to choose a different path if it's not to your liking. So I agree with you. Just because someone gave birth to you, or they're your parents or your brothers or your sisters or whatever, doesn't mean they know.
No, and like we talked about, I think a lot of it, as you know, dealing with all the people that you've dealt with over the past years, is I think a lot of it stems from just childhood. You know, people being raised thinking they're not good enough. You know, or people being ignored as children, and so they feel like, oh, I want my dad's approval, or I want my mom's approval, because as a child I didn't get that. But as you always say, Agnes, beautifully, listen, grow the hell up, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand you weren't heard as a child, but that's why you feel like you need to be heard as an adult from your parents, because you're trying to make up something or heal something that happened 20, 30 years ago, and you don't realize that. And so now you're this grown ass adult who feels like, oh, I need to be heard. I need to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is such a beauty in the people that don't need to be heard. Wow. And I'm surrounded by a few of those types of people in my friendships.
Right.
And it is a blessing to be around them, because they really know how to listen. They don't just need to talk. And it is something that I really look for in my friendships, is those people that really, they've overcome that need to be heard. And so many people do need to be heard. So if you are one of those people, ask yourself, you know, obviously it comes from childhood, but as an adult, it's good to become a better listener. And it's good to become someone who can really hear other people and not always be needing to push your agenda or what you need to say. Just listen to someone for the sake of listening. And that is a skill. It's a skill. And I have to say, sadly, a skill that not a huge percentage of the population has.
Listen, yes, what you just said, you hit the nail on the head. And you know what the funny thing is? What you just said ties in with law of attraction. It ties in with letting go. Because the funny thing is, when you realize and you get to that point to where you don't need to be heard, everyone wants to tell you everything. Like, people literally want to tell you everything now, because they realize, like, oh shoot, this person, you know what I mean, doesn't want they don't need to be heard. So and it's like in a sense of like letting go. So the law is like, okay, so since you don't need to be heard, now I'm gonna send all of these people at you that want to tell you everything so that they can hear from you. You know what I mean? And it's weird how that works. And I was trying to explain that to like my mom in certain situations, and talking to her, and you know, I was telling her, like, listen, like, you got to stop talking people's heads off. You know what I mean? You got to stop talking whoever it may be, and just understand, like, you know, you don't need to be heard that way. You know what I'm saying? If you just relax, fall back, you know, people will come to you and ask you for your advice or seek your wisdom, or it'll happen naturally without you having to, you know, trying to talk someone's head off.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. A person that can be quiet enough mentally that they don't feel the need to be constantly talking at you, because that's what happens when you need to be heard. You're talking at people, and it's very wearing to be around, because I've had friends like that, and I don't have those people around me anymore, because just you leave and you feel drained, because they take a lot from you as they're talking at you. And it's you know, when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, that's okay. But when you're kind of over 25, maybe 30, that might be one of the character traits you want to let go.
Yeah. I listen. I agree 100%. And I think what you're saying right now ties into what was the fifth one you had mentioned?
Number 6 was family. Number 5 was at work, bosses and colleagues.
Yes.
That's often where you're looking for approval. So
Yes.
that comes out there.
Yes. And I think what you just said, like, I know me personally, that ties in with someone that I know very well that I worked with in the real estate business. And it's like one of those people, where it's like you said, good friend, good everything, good person. But I don't think some people realize how they do so much talking. And it's like you said, they're talking at you instead of listening to your concerns or really empathizing like what your concerns are. And it's like they want to be the smartest person in the room, or they want to sound the smartest. And something I learned from a doctor that I've been following on social media recently, she said a statement, and I thought, wow, that statement was so powerful. She said, always ask someone if they want your advice before you give it to them. And that's something that I will never forget, and that will always stick with me, is because I realized, like, for instance, this person I'm talking to you about, this person always would get ahead of himself and would always just start talking and giving advice. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even ask you for advice on whatever, X, Y, and Z. Like, why are you just turned this a 5-minute conversation into an hour conversation because, like, you wanted to hear yourself, or you needed that approval. You want to feel like you're the smartest, or you want to be heard, or whatever the case may be. And I thought, wow, if people would just, ask before they just give the advice, first off, so you don't look like, you know what I mean, like an ass, basically.
Yeah.
Because this person didn't realize, like, he lost a lot of money potentially, and people writing him checks potentially, because he didn't realize he talked too much, and he talked about himself. He didn't talk about the other person. He didn't real report that way. He talked too much about himself and what was going on in his life. So I think you said ties in 100% with that at work.
Yeah. And I think you give a lot through silence and peace. I mean, at work, you obviously need to communicate some of the time, but I think if you can be aware of if you're over talking to get attention or to get reassurance or to get approval, to tone that down and sit and just be present with what you've got going on, and then interact with colleagues and bosses.
Right.
I just think you expend a lot less energy when you do that, and you have energy in reserve. You're not burning it all the time, where you go down to zero every day and then you go home and you're exhausted, and then you top up through your sleep, and then you start again going 100 miles an hour. You burn it all off by talking too much. So I think it's energy conservation as well. Yeah. So yeah, those two are big areas. And the next one was the tarot, astrology, numerology, and religion, where people look for approval and reassurance.
That's I don't even know where to begin with that, honestly. Like, it's because that whole shit's like a Jack in the Box, like just a big like poof, and then the box opens and it's like, my God, like so many people. And it's funny because this is something that I know is a lot bigger in the Eastern world. You know what I mean? The Eastern part of the world, not like people in like America, like they're into it, but they're not really into it like, other parts of the world is. And I think this is something that drastically just destroys, people's minds mentally. And because they say, oh, I pulled a card and it said X, Y, and Z. But it's like, dude, like, you pull that card because where's your energy at? Where's your energy located? This person's not really a psychic. This person is just going off your energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's that's wild to me. Yeah, that's a Pandora's box, on. Yes, you can go ahead and say it.
It is. And I think, Florence Scovel Shinn talked about the rabbit's foot, that people put their faith and hope in the rabbit's foot. And then, then there's the dream catchers, and then there's the psychics. And it's like, this is our time 2021, these are the things that are still surfacing and people are giving their power away to. Now, when you've got these things, you may get some relief. You may believe that it's working, and you may, think that this is a good thing. I mean, I used to do some of these things, but over the years, the desire to put your faith and trust into outside systems, I think, drops away more and more as you become more secure, as you become more trusting of yourself, as you understand that the power isn't out there in a system. I know a lot of people are really into numbers. Oh, I saw 111 and I saw 222. And, I'll be honest, I don't follow any of that stuff anymore. It's not a number that's going to reflect back anything to me. I know that we create from the inside. See numbers, don't see numbers. It's neither here nor there. I remember years ago, I was working for this woman and she was Chinese. Anyway, she asked me when my birthday was, and I told her, and she says, "Oh," and I said, "What?" And she said, you're a horse in the Chinese, and you're a fire horse. We used to kill you at birth because you were bad luck."
What?
Now, luckily, I didn't believe in any of that, and I started laughing because I found it hilarious that she would tell me this.
Right.
Now, if you had been into astrology, into Chinese, the Chinese animals, you would have been like mortified and probably freaked out. I wasn't disturbed by it, and I found it funny that she would tell me that. And she looked at me very oddly that I found that funny, because apparently a fire horse in the Chinese was very bad luck, and they used to kill them at birth, apparently. So these systems that people believe in, what it tells you, I think, today, is that you're looking for security because you feel insecure. That's why we use external systems and outside systems, because we do not feel we have the capacity to feel secure and to feel a self-assuredness. That's why we go to these systems, because we're looking for what we want to hear, or we're looking for evidence, or all this stuff, So, and people go to priests, they go to all these different things. And if that's your thing, I'm not judging what you do. That's up to you. But for me, none of these things are a part of what I do anymore. They used to be, especially psychics, numerology, astrology. I used to follow all of that. And then the shaman cards, the North American Indian cards, I used to do those as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, over the years, I don't need that reassurance anymore. And I feel a lot more secure, and my self-assurance is more quiet just between me and me. So I think this is an area for many people to look at. Am I looking for reassurance from these systems? And is it giving me reassurance because I feel insecure?
Yeah. Wow. That was beautifully said. 'Cause you're your own guidance system, basically. It's like Abraham says, like, how do you feel? Like, your feelings are basically, your guidance system, and I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to that, because whether it's, their parents or someone else, they're like, oh, I need this person to say yes, or, I need, and I just talked about this in the video. It's like, because I was never into psychics, but I was in stuff like that. And I never did tarot cards before, but I was someone who used to like have the belief, like, the universe is testing you,
Yes.
The universe is, and then I realized, like, the universe is never testing you. Like, it's like, if you believe the universe is testing you, then, you're going to be tested. You know what I'm saying? If you believe the universe is going to send you, 3 people when you're trying to manifest your specific person, then guess what's going to happen? Because I see that a lot. Like, people say, oh, another guy showed up, or another girl showed up, or I don't know who to choose. The universe is testing me. And I used to always think that, like, oh, the universe, right before you hit your success, it gets hardest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these different type of cliches that people say. And then I realized, like you said, it's within. Like, I have to go within and understand and be secure with my own thoughts, and not need reassurance and think, oh, okay, the universe is testing me. This is just a test. So that helps me sleep at night. It's like, no, that's not a test. It's your thoughts that are making that
Yeah.
happen. So I just think that you are 100% right with that.
Mm. I will say though, if I get the opportunity, whether in England or in the US, to go to a amazing gospel church to hear the singing, I'm there.
Yeah, yeah.
That I will definitely go to church for.
Yeah. I'm not, listen,
Yeah.
there's some gospel singers, some
Yeah.
gospel songs where when they sing, it lights your soul up.
Ooh,
Like it just
yeah.
touches your soul on like some deep
Yeah.
level. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So that definitely and absolutely, religion aside, the power of the voice and the power of the music and the power of the feeling of what those songs evoke, absolutely I would go, definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next one we were talking about was Friends.
And this is number what, 3? Or
Number 3. Yeah,
number 3
number
okay,
3.
number 3 on the list. Friends. How many
Yeah.
of us have them? Friends. Do you remember that song by Houdini? Friends we can
Yes.
depend on. Friends. Oh my God. Friends.
Yeah, taking advice from friends. And you know what? I have heard people get amazing advice from friends. I think, wow. And I've said to them, you've got an amazing person in your corner. I agree with what they've said, and that is, you're lucky you've got them around. You know, there's some people that have got real, like, friends that have got great relationships, or that have, a lot of money and a meaningful work. And if you are, wanting to manifest and get results in those areas, then those are the friends to go and talk to for sure. Go and pick their brains, find out how they think, find out what they believe in, and have a conversation. Absolutely, that's a powerful place to have good, meaningful exchanges, so that when you come out of that, you can then work on reassuring yourself from having had that conversation. That's good to do.
Yeah, 100%. Because you can get so much distorted information from talking to the wrong person, especially the wrong friends. Because and I notice this a lot, and I notice this a lot with women, and I'm sure you notice it a lot too. Because if it's funny, because I feel like whenever men say stuff like this, like women like they just want to bash him, like, oh, I can't believe he said that. The feminists want to come out the woodwork, and they just
Yeah.
da, 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 da. But it's like, dude, you have other women saying the same thing. And so it's like, I feel like a lot of women, they always go to each other for advice. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? And they
Yes.
never, especially when it comes to relationships, it's like they never go to a male
Yeah.
for the opinion on, okay, what does the actual man think about this? Or what do multiple men think about this?
Yes.
Like, why do I always go to, my girlfriends
Yep.
who may have 5 kids with 5 different men, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, and ask, like, why would you even go to her for advice? I understand you've known her for 20 years, but still, like, why would you do
Yeah.
that instead of going to a man, or
Yep.
a third party man who doesn't even know about the situation,
Mm.
and you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
work out that way.
Yeah. I think that brings up a good point. Look at who you go to advice from, too, and get advice from. And is it someone that really has what you want? And are they able, or they've experienced it, or they're living it, or they've been able to create it for themselves? And then you go, okay, they are someone who knows the mental state, the emotional state that is needed to be in that situation. So
Right.
I think it's not, like you say, it doesn't matter that you've known someone 20 years. You got to start looking at, who am I actually asking for advice, and are they a good person to ask? So to be a little bit more, put the emotions aside, think with your head, and make that decision clearly before you just run off. And I do agree with you. Women do group together and go, he did, he doesn't deserve you, and you could do better, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Women do that.
Right.
And I think it's a bad habit, and it's not productive.
Yeah, I listen, it's wild, because like, I want people to understand, like, most friends that you talk to, even family that you talk to, they're not studying what you're studying. They're
Mm.
not studying law of attraction. Their spiritual awareness is not
Yeah.
even like necessarily, they're probably still on a carnal, mundane level of thinking and acting and decision making based on that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like when I see these things and I'm like, okay, you're going to this person for advice, but it's like, do they know about spiritual law?
Mm.
Do they know about, your thoughts create your reality? And if you're going to people who don't even know this kind of stuff, you know,
Yep.
they're gonna steer you down the wrong path because they're giving you worldly knowledge. And as you know, if you follow the world, you're gonna get what the world gets. That's why the world
Yeah.
has what the world has. So, choosing
Yeah.
friends and having the right friends for the right advice, this is imperative because like you said, you said earlier, a lot of times people go to their friends, before
Yeah.
they go to their family members, and that could be quite dangerous when it comes to, potentially making a life-changing decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So, and we have to take responsibility when we actually put into practice someone's advice and then it ends up badly, but we still did that. So, yeah, it's like really think things through and look at who you're asking and then, just try and make a few better decisions. Because I know I've heard lately a few people have asked people that are close to them, friends, for advice, and then they followed through on it, and then it's ended up creating a huge drama or something bad's, happened and it's backfired, and then they go back and blame that person. It's like, well, hang on, you took the advice and now you're blaming them. You've got to take responsibility for your actions and your choice. So you can save yourself a lot of pain if you firstly choose the right person to get advice from and then make a decision whether you're going to follow it.
Yeah, and I think to add to that real quick is to make sure you make decisions when you're in alignment, because I think
Yes.
that's another big one. Is a lot of people, they make decisions out, I guess as Abraham would say, outside of the vortex. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, when you're inside of the vortex and you make decisions,
Yeah.
like, you can't really make the wrong decision because
Yep.
you're in such a flow state and everything's going right, and you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
always make sure like you're in the right mind frame and not outside of the vortex when you make those decisions. And I think that's imperative too.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So now we're up to the top two. So the one in second position, social media, Instagram, Facebook. And that is where I personally, I don't know about you, Marvin, where I see the most damage, because people are, when you're going into social media to go looking for something, your energy is about suspicion. Your energy is about looking for proof of usually third parties, betrayal, another woman, another man, those type of things that you're looking for. Your energy is going in with that, and you're looking to try and disprove what you feel is going on. And what you feel is going on is coming from usually fear, or maybe you heard something and you're trying to get proof or whatever. So that stuff is a second best person's activity. If you feel first best and good enough, you don't even engage in those type of activities. It is not a meaningful relationship person. They don't do those things. People in relationships that have good relationships don't go and check that stuff out. They don't jeopardize their emotional well-being by doing and taking risks on things like that. So that, looking for reassurance on social media through looking for evidence of stuff, and also wanting to post stuff about yourself to get reassurance about, especially for women, how you look, getting compliments about how beautiful you are, about your hair, about all this stuff. And I'll be honest, on YouTube, the people that comment the most about what I'm wearing, how my hair looks, what I've got going on physically, 98% of the comments are from women to me.
Wow.
So I've never been really driven by how I look and how old I am and how big my boobs are or how my ass looks.
Right.
I was very fortunate. I grew up with a mum that was not interested in any of that. She was interested in how your heart was and whether you were a good person.
Nice.
The physical attributes, you are, how you're born, you know, your hair color, your skin color, how tall you are, all that stuff. That's just how you pop out. So, you know, and we're all different. So that to me has never been an area of great interest, because I do think, and I will say this, I think women put way too much emphasis on that instead of working on their self-love and self-worth. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you just said a lot. Like, I couldn't agree more. Like, it's crazy. Like, I say this all the time. Social media, no, scratch that. Not even social media. Technology has been the biggest gift and curse.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's ever been invented by man. Like,
Yeah.
it has done so much good for humanity.
Yep.
But when you look at the bad that it's done, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, medicine or, you know, chemical warfare, or, you know,
Yep.
we're talking about social media now. It's like social media is so good, but it's like a disease. You know what I'm saying? It's literally like, and these people, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, like, they literally designed this stuff to keep you on there as long as they can keep you on their platform. Like, that's they have tech people and scientists that figure out, how can I keep everybody on my platform as long as that's why when you click a video on YouTube, more like videos pop up, because of the algorithm.
Yeah.
Want to keep you on there. And it's like, with social media, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how can I keep, you know, my ex looking at my page? Oh, I'm going to post some racy photos with my ass out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post a selfie talking about, you know what I mean? Oh, I choose me over everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Knowing damn well that's not how you feel. You know what I mean? Knowing damn well your heart's hurting. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you lost your ex, but you want to post a picture like everything's good. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I ain't thinking about you with your girls. You know, oh, I ain't thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? It is like you feel the exact opposite. And that's one of the things. It's like social media allows people to really cover up how they really feel. So many people on social media, when they take pictures with their significant other, or they take selfies by themselves, like, so many people really aren't happy. Like,
I
they're
know.
not, but they're doing it, like you said, they're doing it to try to piss somebody off because they're insecure. They don't love themselves. They need to get their influence. And I mean, if this is a multiple choice, all of the above.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to look at, why am I doing what I'm doing when I'm on there? And, you know, I mean, if people have like a travel blog, or they're into talking about books or a particular subject that they're interested in, cycling or whatever, I think social media is good for those things, because you can group with like-minded people.
Right.
But if you're just doing all the look at me stuff to try and get attention, to get people to say, oh, you're beautiful, or you're attractive, or you've lost weight, or you've this, or you've that, you know, can you not grow up and do that stuff privately? Like, what is it about you that you still need to get other people to look at what you're doing? What happened to just eating your meal at the local cafe without taking a photograph of it? Can't you just eat and shut up? You know, like, why can't you just eat and just do it privately? Why does everything have to be public? So
100%.
what, it's like, that's the epidemic of needing to be constantly showing people what you're doing. And there's such a beauty in living privately. I mean, I know, God. I mean, my relationship's been nearly 10 years this year.
Right.
There's never been a picture of him on social media. And you know, I've cut myself right out of social media last year. Right. But I think my relationship is my private business. Even though I have a business that talks about relationships, I'm not going to go, oh, look at me and look at us and look at him to prove to you that I've got a good relationship. I know I've got a good relationship.
Exactly.
And he's a private person, you know, and that's the way it's going to stay. I don't need to prove it. I know it. I feel it. I live it. And that is how it's always going to be, because I just don't think that it needs to be public knowledge, this constantly showing yourself in a, like, it's not show and tell at school when you're 4 years old.
Right. No, I agree 1,000,000%. It's funny because, like, I feel like the people who are actually the happiest, the people who stay off of social media, like the people who don't post the most, or the people that might, you know, they might post something here and there. You know, I think those people are like, to me, when I see people constantly posting their significant other, like, I don't know, that kind of raises a red flag to me. A lot of times, and I'm not saying all the time, but
not all the time, but yeah, a lot
yeah,
of the time it does. Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like yo, you're trying to like, I know people personally where I know the ins and outs of their relationships. Like, I'm around them, like I see them, and I see them
Yeah.
posting stuff, and I'm just like, okay, now this picture right here is bullshit. Like, I
Mm.
literally was just with you yesterday and saw you have a fight with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever the case may be, and like I see, like, so I'm thinking to myself, like, I see this shit. But you know what I just said recently in one
Yeah.
of the videos I posted? I literally just said this, and this is not my quote. You know what I mean? I would love to take credit for it, but it's not my shit. I just heard it in a song. I don't know however long ago, but I feel like money is really no longer the root of all evil, or a lot of the evil. I feel like attention is.
Yeah.
Attention is literally the root of a lot of the evil shit that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know. It's like I think it's almost like the internet and social media has brought it to the surface. Whereas before, when none of this existed, people were trying to get attention when they went down to the local pub, or
right.
they went to the sports event with their friends, and then they'd dress up and overdress, and, you know, it'd be all this look at me stuff, but it was kind of self-contained.
Right.
Whereas now it's like everybody's got this giant billboard if you're on social media, and it's, you know, and even with YouTube, I mean, you and I both know people are like, give me the thumbs up and join this and subscribe. I mean, there's another whole level of needing attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I find if I see that somebody doing that, and I'm not talking about, you know, somebody that does recipes or someone that's, you know, teaching you how to blow dry your hair or whatever, because they don't know about the well-being or the social or the law of attraction world.
Right.
But in this industry, if you're doing that, why are you trying to get instead of giving? Because the whole thing, it's law of attraction, and you don't understand even the basics of the law of attraction, because you're trying to get something from the viewers. So that's another whole level of trying to get attention within our industry. So, you know, this is something we have to look at. It's not just looking at what someone is doing, but it's looking at what they're saying, and what industry are they in, and what are you doing, because you're a billboard all the time for what you are saying that you are sharing with people. So it's levels of stuff. And you know what though, Marvin, as we go on, we evolve. Right. You know, like what I said 6 years on YouTube, I look back and I go, oh, you know what? That stuff, I'm not really into that anymore, you know, like rubbing out technique and stuff like that, whispering technique. That's still about trying to change other people. Would I fully go into those things today? I think they're good stepping stones for people to learn, but I do think as you go into more self-love practices, more into pulling your energy within, more into, I don't need reassurance from people online or in my just general world, with my friends, with my family. You look at what you're doing, and you look at what you're saying, and you look at the presence that you put out in the world, and you go, hang on, I still need to work on that, or that needs to stop, or, you know, like, yeah, there's a lot of videos that I look back from 5 years ago that I go, you know what, I don't know if I really am into that anymore. It was a stepping stone, but today I'd put the focus more on shorter, tighter affirmations, self-love meditations, and disconnect from doing all this trying to get relationships, techniques, bright, shiny objects that everybody waves around. Because if you feel loved and you feel secure, you will attract the most incredible relationship ever. And even if you don't, because I remember you saying, you know what, if I'm single till the day I die, I'm okay with that. So it's not about you have to have a relationship. It's the fact that you get to the point where you are so content in your own skin that if you lay in bed on your own for very long periods of time, that's such a blessing, and it's fine because you are really understanding that love is within me.
Whew. Preach. Preach, 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 preach. Right there is where we need some gospel music. I wish that gospel music would come in and the angels
You're
start
gonna,
singing.
yeah, you're gonna have to add some into the
Yeah.
into the fade out part, you know, a little bit of gospel music. But yeah. So let's talk about the last one, Marvin, because this is the biggest one. Looking for
Yes.
reassurance in relationships. What do you think?
What do I think? Oh man, I just think that it's all about childhood again. You know what I'm saying? I just think that looking for reassurance in relationships, it starts at a young age because, you know, whether your parents were around or, you know, they didn't give you the attention that you wanted or whatever the case may be. And this is why I tell so many people to go back, just as you do as well, you know, with your inner child meditation. It's like, you got to go back and find why, what was that place? Did I have my heart broken when I was a teenager? You know, maybe my parents were in my life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then maybe my parents did love me the right way and they didn't try to force their whatever on me and let me think on my own. But maybe there was a time when I was a teenager, my first love, and I never got over that person. Or they did me so dirty, I never healed from that. You know?
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, like, you got to go back in your life, because I know a lot of these coaches on YouTube now, you know, they tell you, you don't have to do these things. They tell you, you don't need to heal your childhood, you know, or you don't need to do this or you don't need to do that. All you need to do is affirm, 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 you know. But I totally disagree with that. And I think this is why people get what they want and then lose it. You know what I mean? 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10 times, is because you're, like you always say, we're icing a rotten cake. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're not really baking a fresh cake. You're just,
Yeah.
all of the stuff underneath the surface is still there because you haven't dealt with it. And you can't, I feel like now I'm not going to say everyone, but I feel like a lot of people, most people, they can't just cover up that type of hurt from childhood, whether it was abuse or, you know, verbal
Yeah.
abuse, physical abuse. You can't just cover that up with an affirmation. You can't just cover that hurt up with, oh, my SP is constantly texting me, because you're saying that, but you're thinking about the physical abuse that might have happened to you when you were a child. You know what I'm saying? Or the verbal abuse when you were a child. So how can you continue to affirm, oh, my SP misses me, my SP loves me, he's always thinking about me, or she's always thinking
Yeah.
about me, but underneath the surface, you're still feeling the hurt and the pain from that situation that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at reassurance in relationships a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think changing your beliefs and affirming and even doing Ho'oponopono is enough. I think you get to a point where you need to do the deeper work. And that's when, you know, people say, oh, law of attraction doesn't work. But the thing is, law of attraction is only one law of many. There's the law of assumption, the law of projection. You know, there's a whole bunch of laws that all dovetail together. So you have to clear the old stuff. You carry it around. It's like a live wire that then attaches itself to situations. So
Absolutely.
if you are defaulting back to a pattern where, you know, you keep getting left, or you keep losing all your money, or you keep getting fired, or whatever it is, you've got to look at where did this start? So, and it's really working on your mental and emotional security. You have to work on doing that from within. And then the antenna you put up will be different, and then your experiences will be different. But your emotional work, your mental work, you have to, I think, clear the childhood stuff. And then you've got to make good choices here and now. It's like, you know, you have to set boundaries. You have to take care of yourself. You know, I hear people talking about, you know, oh, this person, they keep affirming, this person loves me, this person loves me, this person loves me. Well, if you're doing those type of affirmations, firstly, you're still trying to get love from the outside. Secondly, you're wanting to use that person to do it. Thirdly, you're avoiding doing the self-love work from the inside by doing that. And if you really love that person the way you say you do, that is actually treating them with disrespect if you're just still trying to suck love out of them. So it is about letting go of needing reassurance, even with your affirmations.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That type of affirmation to me is very kindergarten affirmations. It's very much, people trying to change other people.
Yeah.
And a lot of us start there because we don't know, but you get to a point where you realize the change is not out there. The change is in here. It's not about getting them to love me so that I feel better and that reassures me that then I'm loved and then I can feel secure. It's about you feeling secure, feeling loved, feeling wanted, and get your foot off the back of the neck of whoever you think should be loving me so that I feel good. Because that's not love. That's actually taking, and it's actually using someone because you're too lazy to do the work for yourself.
I agree 1,000,000%, because I think self-love, along with just flat out focusing on your breath type of meditation, I think those are two areas where a lot of people, they just avoid it. They avoid doing self-love and they avoid doing the meditation. And I think it's because they just, like you said, they don't want to do the work. But if they would do those two things, they would see how much their quality of life would improve from a self-love standpoint or from, just any standpoint, because they'll realize like, man, like my anxiety is gone because I actually learned how to quiet my mind through meditation. You know what I mean? I don't stress as much. I don't think about my SP as much. You know what I'm saying? Like these things will start to happen and they'll say, oh, I love myself. So I really don't, need to listen to this person over here to get reassurance for my relationship. You know what I mean? Oh, now I realize being single actually is not a disease. You know what I mean? Because so many people think being single is a disease.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's not a disease. Like it's and if anything, it's always a reflection, of whatever you want or wherever your energy is at any given time. You know what I mean? So if you don't want to be single, then put yourself in a state of love, and then in security, so you can receive that.
Yeah. And even in the meantime, if you're just enjoying your own feeling of love and security, that in itself is a heck of a lot better than being anxious and fearful and in pain and feeling hurt and lonely and rejected and needy. That is a massive
in a relationship.
Jump. Yeah.
People, everything you just said, people feel all of those emotions while being in a relationship.
Yep.
And they stay in it. That's the crazy part. They stay in it.
Yeah, that's true. It's so great when you realize it's all work on the inside self. The inside self is where all the work is at. And you free yourself more and more and more, firstly through understanding, secondly from applying, and I think from what we've talked about today, give up the need to get reassurance. It's a childlike state. Give it up.
And nobody wants to be in a relationship with a child. Nobody.
No.
They want an adult. No. You don't want to have to take care of a grown-ass human being. Yeah. Seriously.
Well said. That's so true. That is so true. So grow up. Grow up.
We ain't changing no diapers over here. We don't want no adult diapers. You want to go change your boyfriend's diaper? Come here, honey, so I can change your diaper. Come, let me put your pacifier in. You know what I'm saying? You want some breast milk? Come here. Let me give you some breast milk. You know what I mean? Like, golly, like, come on, people. Let's get with the program.
No. So the whole reassurance thing is, I think it's become a huge thing in 2020 and 2021 because a lot of people were stuck with being at home, and it brought up a lot of this needing to do all this stuff online. So have a look at yourself, ask yourself, out of the categories that Marvin and I talked about, do I do any of these things? And if I do, can I give them up? And am I willing to give them up? And am I willing to just become someone who is not doing that to the people around them?
Right. Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yay!
Said. This has been another great, fantastic episode from Two Organic Nuts, as well as nuggets, or
Yep.
chicken tenders with honey mustard, as we used to call them on your channel when we used to do the interviews. My honey mustard nuggets. You know what I mean? Agnes's 6 honey mustard nuggets.
That's it. That's it. We've definitely gone around the world with the weird titles for interviews, haven't we?
Yes.
Uh, that's good. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, as always, to hang out with you, Marvin.
Always, always great conversation. Great time. Always great seeing you. And I look forward to the next one because I already know whatever we talk about in the future, it's going to ring some bells and turn some heads and piss some people off. But, oh, well. You know what I mean? Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah. There we go.
All right, guys, we're getting ready to sign off. Agnes, I appreciate you as always. Agnes, you can say goodbye to everyone, and we will say goodbye in private.
Okay. Bye, everybody. I hope that you got a few little nuggets to munch on today's interview. And we always love hearing your comments down below to see where you're at and what's happening. Lots of love.
Yep, and you will see Agnes and myself, as always, on YouTube. So stay locked in, guys. Thanks again. I'll see you guys.